Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Great Sand Dunes National Park. This is a national park that consists of great sand dunes. The park is about 40 square miles and the sand dunes go up about 1,000 feet each. Unlike a lot of national parks that you've probably seen, there are no trails, there's no paths, it's literally just desert. This is probably the closest thing to Saudi Arabia that we have here in America. Because there is no paths, everything is just raw sand, you're going to get sand everywhere. They recommended that I wear boots, but I don't have boots, so I have extra pairs of socks. You guys will notice that I am carrying a bunch of equipment. The goal for this trip is to hike all the way out into the middle of the sand dunes and set up the camera. We're gonna camp for the night, then we're gonna head up to the mountain range, we're gonna find a nice river, we're gonna get some water, and we're gonna camp for a couple more nights, shooting the dunes from the outside. I'm gonna try not to slip and fall. A bunch of people, they bring like snowboards and sleds so they can slide down the mountain, or I guess hill. The steeper it gets, the harder it is to climb. You just start sinking into the dirt. This is fucking ridiculous. That's where we started. I am absolutely wrecked. And we're not even into the fucking park yet. I was originally concerned that I didn't have enough food. Now I'm worried about not having enough water. I wonder how fucked up my camera is gonna be at the end of this. When I was researching this, they said one of the highest rated recommendations was to bring your own shade because there is no shade here at all. I'm hoping that that was for like summer hikers and that because I'm doing this in the spring, it's not gonna be as brutal. Okay, it's enough time. I'm glad I brought the chair at least. Oh, my bag is so fucking heavy. There is already so much sand in my shoes right now. We're gonna have periodic dumps. I'm pretty sure if I try to go straight up, it'll be too steep. So I need to like snake around up through the side over there. One of the reasons it's so hard is every time you take a step, the sand slips and you fall down. So it's like you're walking on a Stairmaster or whatever. You lose ground with every step you take. The chair is too much work. Do you guys remember watching Aladdin when you were little? Watching him like walk through the sand dunes and find the lamp, and I remember watching that thinking, oh, that looks fun, that looks not fun. No. Cartoons do not accurately depict how difficult it is to walk up a sand dune. It's at the point where I'm taking little baby micro steps because I can't handle the big lunges anymore. Taking another break. Oh, the sand is very cold underneath the top surface. I'm pretty sure once we get over this first layer, it should be relatively flat / downhill. I hope. Watching the wind blow the little sand away. I'm not sure if you guys can hear the wind because I've got that wind protection microphone on, but the wind is blowing. I did consider bringing a sled, but honestly, that would just be one extra thing to carry. I'm not in the mood for that. This is gonna be hard to walk up. I know that like steepness and degrees don't come across on video very well, but this is hella steep. And I'm losing so much ground with every step. Okay, break. I won't lie, it is kind of cool though to be able to see my path all the way up through here. By tomorrow, these will be gone. My watch told me that we have officially gone 1 mile. The uphill just doesn't end. I'm starting to consider the idea that I might not be cut out for this hike. Like the place that I planned to camp is like 15 miles away. I've gotten 1 of the 15. This is supposed to be a hiking vlog, but it's turning more into a sitting vlog. And now I'm back to wondering if I brought enough food. This is my last granola bar. It is kind of crazy though. These sand dunes are like half the size of like actual mountains. Sand dune, mountain. Okay. We are almost there, I think. I'm glad I'm not a heavy person because when I'm able to step in the sand and it doesn't collapse under me, it's much easier to walk on. It's as soon as you step in it and the sand slips, the difficulty goes up. So if I'm careful, I'm able to step in a way that the sand doesn't slip underneath me. That looks too steep to try to walk up, so I think I go around like that. I've learned that there are different types of sand. Sand that is not like pressed on by the wind is really loose. You don't want to walk on that. You want to walk on like the edges over here because it's more likely to hold your weight without slipping. Like you guys can see the texture in the sand. This stuff, notice, I'm not slipping on it. You want to go for the darker sand. I'm just gonna have the title of this video be Panting ASMR. Is that what it's called when people do it? Is it called panting? Now I want to maintain my elevation as much as possible. So I don't want to walk down and then back up. I want to see if I can stay at this elevation. This sand is very loose. I think I might have actually gone the wrong direction because that does go up, but it seems like it's its own little dune and everything else is just downhill from it. I'm not actually sure where I'm trying to go now that I think about it. I'm gonna head up to the top of it and see if I can't figure out where I want to go. That should give us a good vantage point. No, we're good. We can just walk along that. Okay, good. Good. We gotta keep our elevation. Okay, let's take another break. I'm kind of hungry, I haven't eaten breakfast yet. And we can see a lot more of the park now that we're at a higher point. While I'm doing this, I need to make sure to avoid getting in sand as much as possible. I believe my backpack came with a rain fly for like keeping it dry when it rains, but this will work as a tarp to put stuff on so the sand doesn't get in there. Okay. Here we go, this is what I'm looking for, oatmeal. Oh no, the tip of my watering thing is getting sand on it. Damn it. I'm realizing that eating is going to become really annoying because sand is going to get in everything. I'm gonna have little crunchy bits every time I take a bite. There is one more thing we gotta do. We are at the top of a sand dune. Let's crack a Dr. Pepper. I'm filming in the highest resolution possible, but I'm not even sure if you guys can see the people down there. They look like little specks of dust. That is how far people typically come into the park. They come out, they come to the early sand dunes, they do a little sledding and whatever, and they go back. Most people don't ever go out into this shit. Oh yeah, let's also take this opportunity to empty out our shoes. I don't actually know how sand is getting in there. I tied them up real tight. Okay, let's go deeper into the park. Regretfully, the sand at the tops of the dunes, like right here at the edge, is a lot less sticky, so every step you take slips. There is a small advantage in stepping in other people's footprints because it's already been compressed. You slip less. You know, I do not believe that all of this is just sand. I feel like there have to be like mountains and rocks and stuff that the sand is sitting on top of. I do not believe that this whole thing is just sand. Oh my God, now that we've already done the climbing and we've already got all of the elevation, the rest of this is much easier than it was earlier. Getting to the top of them is the hard part. Staying on top is easy. This is not different than walking on any normal trail. Okay, take that back. We still have a lot of climbing to do. Yeah, as long as the sand doesn't collapse underneath you, climbing them isn't even that hard either. Nope, still hard. I need to shut the fuck up. Oh, but I figured out how sand is getting in my shoes. Through the tops of the laces. I can see my car from here. That's annoying. I feel like we've been walking much farther than that. It's like a river. This is mesmerizing to watch. Getting up is kind of dangerous. I don't want to slide down on accident. Okay, we're good. I'm pretty sure that the black sand is actually iron. I've got lots of magnetic stuff, and it's the black stuff that's sticking to my magnets. Just over this dune. Come on. Climbing these things face up is hot. I'm getting pelted by sand, fuck. I'm pretty sure that is the highest dune in the park. And then over there is the second highest. I'm noticing now that all of the really high dunes are the ones on the outside, and then they get kind of flat in the middle. I'm pretty sure those act as like a windbreak. The sand hits the outsides, they grow, and then it just peters out in the middle of it. See, this is what I mean. This is rock. I'm pretty sure this is rock. Maybe this is just wet sand. No, it's sand, okay. Maybe this entire thing is made out of sand, who knows? We are gonna head up to that highest point right there just so we can say that we made it, but we're going deep into the heart of this after that. You can see there are a couple other hikers doing this. Nobody else is carrying the kind of equipment I am. They're just like day hiking. This is called the high dune, probably because it's the highest one here. But I'm curious how they track that. Because I could go up to the top and I could shovel some sand off and I could make it not the highest dune here. It's like a day and a shovel. I could make like that one the high dune. My legs burn. I feel bad for the people sitting over there. They're gonna have to listen to me talk to a camera. Hello. You can see at the bottoms of the dunes, there's little bits of grass. It doesn't rain often here, but when it does, it pools up there. So it's kind of the only place that can sustain life. We need to walk all the way over there. There's a river. That's where we're gonna be getting our water from. But we've reached the highest point here. So going forward, everything else is downhill on aggregate. I am really hoping that I don't slip and have to explain to you guys why I missed it on camera. The chances of me actually recording at the same time that I fall down one of these dunes is pretty small. So if I do slip, it'll just be like a normal thing like this, cut, me down in the dirt over somewhere, swearing. Like, I know generally that I'm trying to go somewhere in that direction, but I'm not sure what the best path to take is. Yeah, so I guess we just like walk. I wonder if there's any of those sand spiders that I've heard about out here. The ones that roll around, the little ball spiders. I'm not actually that worried about slipping because my feet sink so deep into the dirt. I basically got like snowshoes. Even though I'm going down a really steep hill. Whoa. It does get a little bit more dicey once you get to the black dirt and your feet don't sink in. We're gonna go sideways. I spent all of that effort trying to maintain, whoa, nope, still going sideways. The very top layer is slick. So if you don't dig your feet in, you don't have traction. Okay. This is honestly a genuinely novel experience, being able to just pick and go wherever you want, rather than having a set trail that you need to follow. I could go over there, or down there, up in there, anywhere. I have absolute autonomy over where I go. I guess technically you always do, you don't need to follow a path, but here it's encouraged. I wonder if the sand in Saudi Arabia looks like this, because I feel like this is not as golden as the sand in Saudi Arabia. Yeah, it's honestly wild not having trails that you need to follow, not having paths that you need to take, being able to choose literally anywhere you want to go. Hey, you guys are the first backpackers I've seen. Hi. Yeah, so they've decided to make camp inside that little crevasse right there. We're gonna go farther before we set up camp. Little bits of vegetation. Okay, I need to get over there, and I don't want to go all the way up on top of that. I'm going to try to skirt around this by walking on the side of the dune. I can see some skid marks down that dune. That looks like a really good dune to sled down. Except for like the foliage that you'd land in as soon as you hit the bottom. Whatever, it's a great dune. I don't think I can walk, that's like a 45-degree angle right there. I don't think I can walk across that without slipping. But I don't want to go all the way down there and have to climb all the way back up. This is a bed I dug, or bed I laid, or grave I dug, something. This is the path I picked, we're walking it. I'm trying not to lose any elevation, so I don't need to walk back up. But every time I take a step, I slide down a little bit. In hindsight, I realized it would have been better to walk around that side. Now that I'm on this dune, this would be terrible to slide down. This is way too steep for sledding. This is how deep my feet are going into the sand with every step. I don't have feet anymore. I just need to get across. My feet are trapping air every time I take a step, so it makes like this little farting sound. Okay, made it to the foliage. Just gotta get over there. Okay, a few more steps. The grass helps hold on to the sand so I don't slip as much. We made it. Okay, it's time for a break. This break is going to be a little bit longer because I am struggling. Whoa. Come on, nope, stay up. The combination of sweat and sand sucks. Actually, I'm considering setting up the tent like right here. The midday sun is almost here. We don't want to be walking when the sun's out at full heat. We don't have shade, so the tent is probably what we're gonna do. Let me see if I can't find a place with level sand. You know what? This looks pretty good. Like right here. God, it's crazy how much easier it is to walk when I'm not carrying around that thing. Come on. The only thing that I'm a little bit worried about right now is that I imagined we would go farther and we would camp by like a stream so we could have access to water. There is no water out here, which means the water that I hiked in with is basically all we've got until we find the stream somewhere in here. Get our little tarp out. I'm not sure how useful these stakes will be because they just go in like butter. The answer is not useful at all. Anytime I've tried to put tension on this, they just slide out. Now, rather than putting the Rainfly on the tent like I normally do, that would make the tent get really hot. What I want to do is I want to see if I can use my camera tripod to set this up kind of like a teepee so I can have shade. I was definitely considering whether or not I should bring this because this is really heavy and I can just use like rocks and whatever as a tripod. But then I realized that I can use this as something to help me get shade, so I decided it's worth the weight. And if I can set this up in a way that the tent also gets shade, that's even better. I will need to stake everything down so that the wind doesn't blow. Yeah, see, it's already trying to blow my tripod away. Okay, the wind keeps trying to blow my tripod over. The tripod idea is not working. Which means if we want to avoid the heat of the sun, our only real option is to stay in the tent. Okay, well maybe I can extend the flies of my tent out with the tripod. Yeah, the dirt underneath this is wet. It's more stable. I'm gonna try to bury the legs. I even have a second little mini tripod here for the other flap. It's not perfect, but it will do. This is likely where we're gonna be for the rest of the day. Okay, I guess let's start getting everything ready for the night. I'm not sure how useful it'll be to try to get sand out of my tent because I'm pretty sure it'll just come back in. Okay, I am going to try to clean the sand out of my tent. Not because I think it'll be especially effective, but because I've got a lot of time and not a lot of things to do. That is, okay, I guess that's kind of effective. I should really get like a dustpan and a broom, carry it with my tent. Once I get it all into a corner, I'm not sure how I'm gonna get it out of the tent. Well, without any better suggestions, I'm just gonna get rid of it one pinchful at a time. I'm realizing that this is actually more pointless than I originally thought because more sand is just blowing in. Well, let's start unpacking. I have a little stove. I have a solar panel. We're actually gonna set that up right now. I'm keeping all of my camera equipment up top here so that they're less likely to get sand in the lenses. Let's check how much water we have left. That's a decent amount. That's probably good. One of the things I did to make sure that I don't get sand inside of any of my electrical ports, I got these little magnetic USB adapters. So you basically just doop, and it can charge magnetically, but it sticks something inside the port so that sand can't get in there. I'm not sure if this magnetic adapter is actually any good, but it does keep my ports free from sand. Now I guess we just wait for the sun to go down a little bit. Oh wait, I have beef jerky. And honestly, I thought this would be a lot more expensive than it was. This was like $4 at Walmart using the Great Value brand. It's $12 if you want the Jack Link's jerky. I'm not really fond of camping in general, just like camping for the sake of it, just like going out for the weekend out to the woods to go set up a tent. But I like this kind of camping. I like the camping where you've got a goal, where you're trying to do something and camping is just the only way that you're gonna be able to achieve it. This works for me. I'm not sure if I need the inflatable bed. The sand is kind of soft. When the wind blows, sand fucking shoots up everywhere. Ah, I'm spilling. You know what? Fuck cold oatmeal. Let's go collect some firewood. I'm sure I'll find some firewood. Oh my God, the sand feels amazing on your feet. It's not as hot as I thought it would be. We don't need a lot of wood, we just need enough to be able to boil a cup of water. The only vegetation seems to be these little vines. I'm not going to use any of the underbrush. This is probably enough to boil a cup of water. This is what we're going to use to cook with. It's a camping stove. It comes in 5 parts. These are the base. We take these 2 flaps, we stick them in the sides. Then this is where our actual burning material goes, and then on top we have the grate. On the bottom we're going to put my oatmeal wrappers. This is just trash that I've been carrying with me. If we burn it, that means that we've got extra fuel to boil water and less trash that we're carrying around. I do have a little bit of plastic garbage, but I'm not going to burn that. I'm only burning the paper. Then on top of that, we'll put the sticks. And then we put the metal grate on it, so there's no chance of any of this stuff blowing away. Let's fill up the cup of water we're gonna boil. Okay, we got the cup of water. We are actually running low. We gotta be more efficient with it. Now, we're not boiling water just so that we can have warm oatmeal. I actually have real food. This is like proper camping equipment. You'll find this in the camping food section. What this company does is they make the food, this is beef stroganoff with noodles, and then they freeze dry it to where it's completely dehydrated. All you need to do is add hot water to this and you've got like a warm meal. I've never tried these before, but this seems like a good opportunity to give this a shot. Now, as for actually getting this thing to light, I have this really cool lighter. This is an electric lighter. Check this out. This uses just battery power and it makes a little voltage spark. Yeah, and so it does not require fuel. I don't need to worry about running out of fuel or anything like that. It's completely electric. I can put this deep in here so I can get the very inside of it. Okay, in hindsight, I do not think that was actually enough to boil water. Not even close. I do have some very sandy water now though. You know what, the water is kind of warm though. It's not boiling, but I'm gonna give it a yeah, you can see there's a whole bunch of stuff that blew in there. That's just the situation we're gonna deal with because we don't have a lot of water. It's basically just dehydrated noodles, chicken, and seasoning. If I do this slowly, I don't think the sand particles will come up. See, look at that. I was able to leave most of the sand in the cup. I wonder how important it is for it to actually be boiling before you do this. Now we let it sit for like 5 minutes so that all of the dehydrated stuff can absorb the water. And I want to point out, this isn't wasting water. Using your water to put in your food is functionally the same as drinking it. You're still getting hydration from the food you eat. So this is not, it's not like I wasted water. If I would have dumped it out, it would have been a waste. That's crunchy, gotta wait longer. Okay, let's give dehydrated camping food a test. It's still kind of crunchy, probably because I didn't boil the water. This is a bad test, actually. But I'm hungry, so that's what we got. Not gonna lie, I am freaking out a little bit right now because I have a bunch of these. This was supposed to be like my main meal for the whole hike. I think I have 5 more of them, and this was not very good at all. The sun is going down. Let's go do some photography. I am walking barefoot still. This just feels nice. Now, I also want to do some self-portraits because I don't actually take that many pictures of myself. I have hundreds of videos of me, but no pictures. So we are going to steal this tripod and then use it. I have the tripod set up here and I've got the camera connected to my phone, so I can use my phone to see what the camera sees. I'm actually going to put you guys right on the camera so you can see what the camera sees. Let me see. I get the feeling that tonight is going to be very, very cold. It wasn't even that warm today. It was like, I don't know, maybe 60 degrees. Tonight's probably gonna be below freezing. We will take some more pictures around twilight and then once the stars are out. I need to be very careful with this camera so the lens doesn't get sandblasted. Trying to keep sand out of my tent was just hubris, it seems. Speaking of hubris, I went out there with my camera to try to take self-portraits, and I was quickly reminded why I don't take pictures of myself. You would think I would be more photogenic given that I'm like a professional influencer, but I guess not. Every time the wind blows, it blows sand up here and it like falls on my face. have an idea. I'm going to bury my tent. Then I put this in the trench, I fill it up, hopefully creating a seal. I heard that this would be a problem, but boy howdy, I underestimated it. It is genuinely hard for me to articulate how grating this is. This is like the only safe place from sand in my tent. It's just like hiding in my sleeping bag. Every time I close my mouth, I feel sand grinding against my teeth. Okay. Let's grab the tripod and head out. I want to keep this relatively clean, so we'll zip this up. Relative is the key word there. I actually very carefully selected my path out of here so I could get shots of the footprints in the sand. And we're moving. All of my footprints from earlier have already been eroded over. Now I have one singular new picture of myself. We will do a little bit more landscape photography while we wait for the sun to go down. Okay, I think this is the shot I want. You can see the dunes in the foreground, you can see the mountains in the background, and then hopefully the clouds go away and we can see all of the stars on the top. This is the shot. We'll also turn the camera around here and get some shots of the dunes in the back, but basically they'll just be a black wall. We won't be able to see them at night. That will be visible. I'm gonna go get my chair because we're gonna be here for a bit. Okay, here you guys go. While I wait for the sun to go down, you guys get to watch a time lapse. Okay, it is dark enough now that this camera cannot see anything. I've messed with all of the settings. It is pitch black out there, but this camera still can. Do you guys see how this camera can see the faint shadows of the mountain over there? It's always hard for me to film these parts of the shoots because you guys can't actually see anything. So you just gotta like wait for the final pictures after I process them. But now I want pictures of the tent. Okay, and we will begin shooting it like this. Okay, I got a bunch of really great pictures, but the wind is really starting to pick up. You guys can't hear it because the microphone I'm using is great, but God fucking damn it. This light, anytime something comes in front of it, watch this, I'm just gonna move my hand in front of the light, it turns itself off. I'm not pushing any buttons. I don't know what that is. I'm gonna try to get my shoes off. Now these are not the socks that we're wearing to bed. These are hiking socks and they're full of sand. I have special warm wool socks for sleeping in. And I'm putting those hand warmers that I got earlier inside the sock to keep my toes warm. You guys might think it's gross, but it works well. Now I'm gonna try to avoid getting as much sand on top of me as possible. So I'm gonna like hide inside here all burrito style. It's only like 10 o'clock, so I'm gonna keep reading, but I will catch you guys tomorrow. Good morning, everybody. I just wanted to show you guys, I woke up so I could use the restroom. The wind completely stopped. You guys aren't going to be able to see this, but there are so many more stars in the sky than there were earlier. Yeah, I just needed you guys to see that. Good morning, everybody. I hoped to wake up and see the sunrise, but I guess the sun beat us to it. You can tell that the wind basically stopped last night because all of the footprints from when we were taking pictures are still there. But the wind will certainly pick back up as the sun heats up the sand and causes it to rise. So it'll be windy again soon. I want to check on our water reserves. Oh, that's not a lot. I'm so fucking hungry. The biggest problem with the water situation is that I don't actually know where we can get more water. I have a water filtration pump, so once we find a river, I can filter it and we can drink that water. But I'm not actually sure where that river is. I know that it's out there somewhere, but I also know that it's seasonal. It's not always flowing. So it is possible that we could get there, we could find the bed of the river and there not even be water in there at all. That's what I need to decide. Is this enough water to be able to find that river? I'm American, so I'm not good with like liters or whatever, but I would say that's about 1 Dr. Pepper's can worth of water, maybe 1.5. And I'm not about to waste any of my water by washing my dishes, so. The stars last night were so pretty. Normally when you do astrophotography, you can't really see the stars that well. You set the camera up, you put it on long exposure, and the camera is able to pull out some of those things that you can't see with the naked eye. That was not the case at all last night. Everything that you saw in those pictures, you could see with the naked fucking eye. It was like there were millions of stars. They were so bright. I have been to so many different places. I've seen so many different things. I've never seen the night sky like it was last night. That was mesmerizing. Like of all of the places I've been to, this is probably the one that I am the most likely to return to, just so I can bring somebody else and show them what I saw last night. Okay, I think that we are going to turn back. I'm not gonna go try to hike out into the desert with no water. I doubt I have enough water right now to even find this stream if it is flowing. You know, in hindsight, now that I know that water really is a limiting factor for this hike, I regret that beef stroganoff. That freeze-dried bullshit that we had earlier, that actually was a waste of water. Actually, all of the food I brought with me on this trip requires water to rehydrate. On future hikes, I need to prioritize more varied types of food. Holy shit, check this out. This is not neat footprints. There was an animal walking right in front of my tent last night. I can't tell what type of animal it is. Maybe it's like a dog or... I see big, deep prints and I see small little ones. Honestly, I'm not sure if this will be enough water just to get us back to the car. We drank more than that just to get here. Let's get another view over the dunes before we turn back. One thing I find unfortunate in the pictures we took last night is the dunes, they didn't really pop in the way that I wanted them to, because they didn't have like the shade, so it was all just kind of like a brownish gray. With the sun on them, you can tell where each of the individual dunes are. You can tell like the height, but without the sunlight on them, they're just sand. So these tracks, they look like hoof prints. You can see like the horseshoe type of shape. You got 2 of them, 2 in front, 2 in back, and then they'll walk. But then I also see these much smaller things that look like paw prints. Which I'm not gonna lie, I'm genuinely surprised because I don't know what they would get out of this. There's no water, there's basically no vegetation. Are they just getting the views? This is another animal that's even smaller, but it looks like it walked up this really steep dune. Where did they come from? Do you think they live in the dunes? Yeah, they just walked right up the fucking slope of the sand dune. Yeah, I don't see a river. I don't see signs of a river. I see trees over there. I'd say maybe that's 5 or 6, 10. That's some number of miles away. And there might be a river over touching the mountain, but there's probably nothing before that. Check this out. So the hoof prints that we were seeing earlier, they're still going through here, but you see this line in the sand right here, and you see it again right here. So either this is a donkey that just had a massive fucking, or this is somebody riding the donkey and they had a stick and the stick dragged against the ground. I remember at the Grand Canyon, they had the National Park Service workers riding donkeys up and down, just like make sure everything was okay. It seems very possible that last night, at some point, one of the national park people, they just came through on a donkey to make sure that nobody was like dead. Which might sound reasonable until you remember that any of the people that have backpacking permits can backpack pretty much anywhere they want. That's 40 square miles that these people would need to patrol back and forth. Maybe I just happened to camp on one of the spots on their route. I'm realizing now that I do a lot of walking. Sand is getting in all of the buckles here, so they're not working as well. Gonna try to wiggle them free. There we go. I'm glad the wind has stopped. Makes this a little bit easier. Gotta get the sand out as much as I can. Honestly, I was not cold at all. I'm glad I actually went and paid like good money for this. This is an insulated bag. That means that it's got like metal underneath it that reflects my heat up at me. I was fine last night. Let me see if I can get the sand out of my tent before I put it away. Oh, I realized, you know those magnetic things that I bought so that I wouldn't get sand in my ports? It turns out that was a bad idea because these are magnetic. They've got just all kinds of iron caked up in there. So, yeah, magnets in the sand dunes is not a great call. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna try to get back to the visitor center without deeply dehydrating myself. Now, I am not going to try to shimmy across that thing again. I'm gonna walk around like this, I suppose. I wonder if I should be following animal tracks. Like, I bet they know where water is. I wonder how useful that would be for an actual survival tactic. You can tell how much more weight I'm carrying now because how much deeper my footprints are. Yeah, your feet just sink into the sand. So it's actually not as slippery as it looks like it would be. Back to the sitting vlog. I'm not looking forward to having to climb the high dune up there. Actually, you know what? Rather than climbing over that, why don't I come through the side like that? Okay, there's like a massive wall of sand there. I don't think that plan is gonna work. I think we gotta go this way. Yep, we're out of water. Plus side, I'm glad I decided to start heading back rather than trying to hunt for that river, stream, creek thing. Okay, I've caught my breath. Let me give you guys a landscape of where we are. That is the high dune. That's the highest point here. And basically all of the sand, it comes up right at the entrance to the park. So this should be the last like great hurdle we need to get to. And then after that, I think it should be downhill. So we only need to climb one more dune. I looked it up. That sand dune is actually taller, or roughly as tall as the Empire State Building. So walking up that from base is like climbing the Empire State Building while walking on sand. I can't decide which has been more difficult, climbing up these sand dunes or climbing out of the Grand Canyon back in November. They're both pretty darn tough. I'm gonna try walking backwards up this. My front walking muscles are tired. My back walking muscles will pick up the slack. If anybody decides to follow my footprints, they're going to be very confused. If I'm right about that, that means just over this hill, we should see the parking lot with my... No. No. Fuck. Okay, here's what I'm thinking. Let me zoom in here for you guys. Do you guys see that little divot right there? I imagine I could probably go around this thing and there's like a path. I don't need to go over that. I can probably come through here. Okay, so rather than going down and then back up, we're going to slither through here and cut in that way. Gotta be little snakes. Going down is much easier. Because we're at the bottom of the basin now, none of the sand is compacted to where your feet slip much more. Okay, my original plan does not look good. It's a real big dip, and I think our best bet is just charge through the mountain, sand dune. But it's really steep, so I think that we've got to do this with 4 legs rather than 2. Now I can see the parking lot. Straight downhill from here. Most of the people that come here, let me zoom in, that is as close to the park as they get. They get on those very first dunes, they do their sledding, and then they leave. Yeah, we are like an Empire State Building tall right now, or an Empire State Building high. Do you guys want to see something funny? Maybe you guys won't find this funny, but I think this is hilarious. This is the path that I walked up yesterday. This was not a path. No, there were no footsteps here. I made this path myself because I was dumb. This is super steep. This was hard to climb. But then, because I had my footprints there, other people saw my path and they're like, oh, this must be the correct way to go. People were typically going up this way, but my footprints made them come this way, and now they all had to go up this super steep hill. Just because I didn't know what I was fucking doing. I guess you could call me a trailblazer. Actually, yeah, I can just go straight down from here. I don't need to go up on that hill. I feel like I'm wearing space shoes or something. It's hard to describe how this feels when you sink into the dirt. You feel like, I don't even know how to describe it. That's it. We're almost there. You can tell that the sand here is like bigger particles. It hasn't been weathered as much. Okay. We've left the sand and now we are on hard packed dirt. Walking feels so much easier. Let's take a sec to catch our breath. I don't actually keep water in my car. What I do keep is Rockstar Energy and Dr. Pepper. And if we're being honest with ourselves, this is better than water. God damn. My shoes are so fucking full of dirt. Oh, it's cold though. It's ice cold. Now I need to start the process of desanding myself so I don't track sand back into my car. Maybe I shouldn't do this on the driveway, but whatever, it's already done. Yeah, there's sand everywhere anyway. I did plan for this trip to last much longer. I have permits for another 3 nights here. But I just didn't bring enough water. At the end of the day, it's fine. This was a learning experience. I set out on this trip so I could learn how to do long distance camping, and I learned to bring more water, or to like have to know where my water source is. All of this was in my feet. But I will highlight some things that did go good. We got great pictures. I guess my tripod broke, but we got great pictures. The tent worked great, the sleeping bag, the inflatable bed didn't pop. We did also learn that these prepackaged freeze-dried fucking things are not very good. It's possible that this is just a bad flavor. I have a couple other ones. I have like a breakfast flavor. I have one from a different brand. We will possibly try those eventually, but I was not fond of what I got. Look at that. I'm not the only person that brings a or an Insta360 on a stick. I appreciate that. I did it at the Grand Canyon. Their stick is bigger than mine was. I'm gonna leave cleanup and reorganization for later. I am beat. So, I am disappointed that the trip was cut short, but I'm glad that we learned that we need to bring more water on future trips. We need to have more consistent access to fresh water sources like lakes and rivers and whatever. And we need to have more food that doesn't require adding water to it, like beef jerky, granola bars, stuff like that. So, the next camping trip should be better. Oh my God, my car has air conditioning. The power steering pump is still whining. We'll fix that later too.